Last night's game against the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets led up to some very interesting conversations that had on with Twitter, YouTube, regular cable television. It just led to a lot of conversations, and I like to listen and observe different conversations about it. So, for example, I like to listen to the Herd, who I mostly agree with Colin Cowherd. I also like to watch a lot of Undisputed with Shannon and Skip Bayless, figuring out what their opinions are. And of course, I like to watch a little bit of Chris Smoove, because I think Chris Smoove really went into very good details on the fact of what James Harden was doing during these moments of how he draws the foul. I mean, on Twitter, I saw him going through it, especially when we're talking about guys like Luka Doncic and their step backs and other guys' step backs. It's definitely a lot different than what James Harden does. So what is the controversy that we're talking about? The controversy that we're of course talking about is the way that James Harden draws a foul, which is to me inspired by Reggie Miller, and the fact that if you guys remember or have heard about the Reggie Miller thing, he would always kick out his leg to draw the foul and he would normally get it. And then finally the refs decided, you know what, we're tired of it. We're not going to have you get away with these foul calls. If you kick out your leg, we're not calling it. But the problem is now there's a new rule that was implicated 2 seasons ago when Zaza Pachulia, or as Skip Bayless likes to call him, Zaza Pacheap, put his foot underneath Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi Leonard rolled his ankle, which not only cost him that series, it also cost him the regular season as well for next season. So to me, I think it was a great rule that you shouldn't be able to land, because to me it just kind of reminds me of the Bill Laimbeer days. If you guys ever watch highlights of the Detroit Pistons back in the day with Isaiah Thomas, the original IT, Bill Laimbeer, all those guys, Joe Dumars, you see what Bill Laimbeer did underneath the rim in terms of trying to get people to get a foul call. It would honestly be kind of disgusting, and I'm surprised that Bill Laimbeer didn't get more punched in the face for what he did. But Zaza Pachulia did something very similar to that, and of course, surprisingly, he didn't get suspended for any of it. To me, it's kind of like, dude, you should call something, or you should really do something about it. But now it seems that James Harden and the Houston Rockets are trying to manipulate themselves into getting those calls. We see that when James Harden does his step back three, he's not standing straight up and down vertically. When they teach you to shoot, especially, you know, as a high school coach or as someone that really loves the game and trying to figure out how to get his game better, when you shoot the ball, the thing is you never kick out your feet that far. I've never seen anybody in the world, you know, flail the feet 20 feet in the air to get a foul call. Usually you stand straight vertical up and down, because that's the best way to get your shot. But James Harden thought, and the way that he likes to manipulate the game, obviously getting to the free throw line, was of course trying to figure out how I can get foul calls on these guys. And we know that when the Golden State Warriors play the Houston Rockets, they like to be a little bit rough on James Harden in terms of when you're contesting him, it's more of a side contest. You're using a little bit more of your body than anything else. And to me, when I see that, especially, I will say this, the couple of the times when I see the Klay Thompson incidents, then I'm kind of a little bit confused and a little bit frustrated with it, because I think those are fouls. Even though James Harden is flailing his feet a little bit, I just don't think that those, to me, are non-calls. You have to call something there. But the Draymond one in the last second, that to me was perfectly fine. And the most egregious one I'll have to say out of all of them is, of course, the booty twerker himself, Chris Paul, right into Shaun Livingston. My guy, what are you trying to do there? I understand you're trying to draw a foul. I understand that you're trying to get something out of the ref. But to me, you're not going to get anything out of that, because it just looks funny and it looks stupid, honestly, because you're really just thrusting yourself right into a guy. I don't know why Chris Paul would even do that, because it's kind of like, really, dude? I'm not going to call that. Or if you were a ref, would you call someone that just kind of thrusted himself, just kind of like threw himself in? I mean, if you're at the YMCA, you're going to be like, what the hell are you doing? You're not going to be like, yeah, that's a foul. No, you're going to be, what are you doing? Why are you trying to thrust your feet? But nevertheless, you know, this is what it is. The Houston Rockets thought, you know what? We can manipulate the game. We can try and manipulate. We can try to outthink the room by trying to draw these fouls. And I will agree with Colin Cowherd on this point. I think instead of trying to draw fouls and trying to get that aspect of it done, I think what you should have done was just try and concentrate on making the threes. Focus on making your shots. Because to me, when you start flailing your feet, you don't even give space for a defender to land himself if he decides to jump and contest your shot. You don't give him any space at all, and then the referee is stuck and confused. I mean, the veterans obviously won't be, because they're in the playoffs and they're going to call it. But, you know, the younger refs are going to be confused. They're going to be like, well, he kind of landed in his space, but I mean, he kind of flew himself forward like 4 or 5 feet. To me, what I think I find most egregious about the James Harden thing is that instead of trying to focus on, you know, trying to draw the foul in that aspect, try and look to see if you can at least, I don't know, make your shots, because obviously he didn't play very well. He wasn't, his percentages are never very good. And the one thing I will disagree on is, of course, with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe talking about how Clint Capella and PJ Tucker didn't really do anything. Well, to be honest, when you look at the offense, it's never correlated or anything around them. It's never, Clint Capella obviously gets those alley-oop dunks, and that's pretty much all Clint Capella gets. He doesn't get post-ups, he doesn't get anything else, because that's just not his game. So to me, the fact that Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless are demanding that those guys play better, that's just not their game, and that's usually what's going to happen, because James Harden is going to have the ball, and Chris Paul, for that matter, is going to have the ball in their hands most of the time. So those guys are never going to get anything. And the fact that James Harden doesn't get his three, like I said, through movement, he gets it more through, you know, dribble, step back, shoot a jumper. Like, that's the way that James Harden scores, and that's the way he gets his points. And I guess the biggest question that I want to ask you guys, because I think this video is going to run a little bit long, like I said, we're trying to do a little bit shorter videos. What do you guys think of the whole James Harden situation? Do you guys like the fact that the refs didn't call anything on these James Harden fouls? Or do you guys are on the opposite side? Or do you guys upset because there should have been foul calls? I would love to know your guys' comments and opinions in the comment section down below. But anyway, guys, this has been your boy Bernie here on The Charge, giving the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. And guys, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Also remember to hit that notification bell so you don't miss our NBA content. You know, we talk about stuff in the playoffs from last season, but we also have stuff on our NBA draft prospects, such as Zion Williamson and what he's going to do for the future of the league. We also talk about John Morant and also RJ Barrett. If you guys are interested in those type of videos, go and check those out. But anyway, guys, I will catch you in the next video. Peace.